Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert, man.
Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers.
Spoilers are incoming.
A lot of them.
Spoiler alert, I'm gonna spoil the movie.
Caution, the spoilers ahead, okay? Like, it's coming.
There's going to be spoilers coming up pretty soon. If you're still here, there's going to be spoilers. You still here? Okay.
I can't believe I was suckered into seeing this movie. I cannot believe it.
So, The Last Jedi.
Star Wars. The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. And for me, it was Star Wars The Last fucking Straw.
I'm just blown away of how much I dislike this movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
My expectations for this were just, like, here, and what I got was below what you can see.
If I just go in thinking, oh, I'm going to dislike this no matter what, and I'm just trying to find something wrong with it, I don't know, I guess that'd be one thing, but when I'm going in excited and super pumped, and within 30 minutes, I'm like, gosh, this is kind of boring.
The film has really just soured in my mind a lot.
The Last Jedi kind of sucked.
What the fuck is going on with Star Wars?
Once it starts to sink in after you've brushed your teeth and crawling to bed, some things about it begin to not make a whole lot of sense.
Okay, let's, oh my God,
Okay. I just think overall the movie was really messy and poorly written. I honestly feel like I could have wrote a better fucking movie. Like, what the fuck was that? The thing that annoys me is that, like, sorry, I'm getting irritated. I start itching myself when I get irritated.
If I said Star Wars to you, what would you think of? You'd probably think of lightsabers or the movies. But mainly lightsabers, or, if you're one of those freaking stupid fans that think of R2-D2, then you're a screw-up. But most people will think of lightsabers or, like, Darth Vader or someone like that. There was not one lightsaber battle in that whole movie. But not two lightsabers actually touched in that movie. And
I'm struggling for words because I'm left a little dumbfounded. As good as, the first one was, which was The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi really struggled for a decent storyline.
And I think that's one of the big problems of it, is that the storytelling element is all over the place.
Fucking hate on me all you want. There was too much happening in this movie. Slow it down, pick your plot point, get 1, 2, maybe 3 plots, and run with it. Don't have 15 goddamn plots running all over the place. Figure out what you want to do, and then do it.
they're putting like a whole trilogy in one single movie, and that's never worked out.
If you go into the toilet in this movie, in that moment, you will miss a lot. Or if you would talk a lot, then you would miss a lot. So it happens very fast, the first take on the...
And I hate it when movies do this. They start full steam ahead immediately, and you just don't care what's going on. It's really overwhelming, and none of the characters have been developed yet. So you're just watching all this eye candy with no meaning, no weight, or nothing, no base, nothing underneath it to support it or make you give a fuck about it.
And that's the thing that this movie fails to do. It fails to make you care.
So much just weird tangential plot points that are just there to set up like kind of pretty action sequences, but none of it really is tied together.
First they're in a space battle, and then somehow they end up in a casino? I'm like, what the hell happened?
Like, when a kid is making up a story and they'll add something that's like, okay. And then they add a little something and say, oh, that's actually kind of clever. You're a smart kid. I mean, the overall story is like it's still a kid telling it. But it's like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's how this new Star Wars series feels.
As writing cohesiveness and making stuff blend and be coherent, it fails as a film.
You gotta at least have the bases right. You gotta have good, understandable characters, a plot that makes sense, good direction, a villain that you can understand and get behind, a world that feels alive and makes sense.
You know, okay, I'm going to believe whatever nonsense is thrown at me in this. Instead, what a good piece of art should do is creating a world that is believable and following the rules so that, you know, there's not a moment where, you know, it just kind of all falls apart and you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense to what you said before.
These aren't the rules that, you know, like how you sort of do stuff in this universe. You know, you've had 8 movies, and you have a sort of pattern of what you can do, and this film sort of breaks it all. And I don't understand that.
And oh my gosh, bro, you can just tell this is money. This is just money. This isn't about telling a good story. This is about making money.
It didn't even feel like a Star Wars film. It had no fucking lore to the story. It had no relation to anything that we saw from day one all the way to now.
The plot holes, the lack of character development.
I just could not believe how many inconsistencies were in this story. I couldn't believe what was happening in the screenplay. I couldn't believe the set pieces. I couldn't believe how unoriginal the storyline was.
How Rian Johnson basically said F you to every decent storyline he was set up with. He could have simply picked up the baseball that J.J. Abrams batted to him and run with a storyline that would have knocked it out of the park.
J.J. Abrams started the Star Wars franchise with The Force Awakens. He created questions.
The Last Jedi takes the story threads and questions established by The Force Awakens and just blows them out of the window.
They just did me wrong. They did the characters wrong, and Rian Johnson, the director, he did J.J. Abrams wrong.
You almost think that he hated J.J. Abrams' film and the plot twists that were left at the end of that film. He acts like he hated it because he went in guns blazing and said to himself, I'm not finishing anything that he wrote. I want to make this movie my own movie. If I finish up all the plot points he started, this ain't going to be my movie. And I don't want to be the director that, has a successful movie because I finished his story. I want to make my own story.
JJ built some characters up. He built Poe, he built Rey, and he built Finn and Kylo. And guess what they did? Rian Johnson smashed them back to the floor.
That was 2 ass years of people coming up with theories. There's tons of fucking YouTube videos with theories of Rey's background, who Finn is, who Poe is, or not even, well, because there's a whole fucking comic book. There's whole comic books on who they are and everything, but just like according to like this movie, what would happen? Like, who is Rey? Like, where did she come from? Why is she so strong with the Force? All that shit.
You know how many fans have sat down and did fan theories trying to figure out who Rey's parents was? Oh, she's probably, Ben Kenobi's kid. No, she's probably a Skywalker.
Rey was set up to have some kind of insanely intriguing backstory. My favorite theory was the Rey is a Palpatine theory. That would have completely jived with, Luke's concern about her power and why she was hidden on a planet. No, she's just a no one, so why would we care?
She turns out to be a nobody. Her parents aren't important to the storyline.
But then the scenes in The Force Awakens, 2 scenes, they what was the point of that scenes? Just to mess up with us? Like when Han Solo is in the planet talking to the orange alien, and they are talking, who is that girl? And Rey, the flashback, and Anakin's lightsaber calling to Rey. Why?
I mean, again, they teased it 4 times in this film. Who's Rey's parents? Just say it. Oh, they wanna hang it over our heads, and then they finally said they're trash people, bruh.
This is what you give us. This is what you give us. 2 scavengers who sold their own child. That's the Rey's parents, okay.
You know, your parents were junkers, and they just sold you for drink money.
That wasn't it. Not at all. That wasn't it.
Rey is just a nobody. She's not even related to the story at all. She has no lore to the story. She's just a fucking scavenger from Jakku that has the power to wield the Force. Because apparently Disney wants to rewrite everything, and apparently Jedis don't exist no more. Because everything is Force friendly. Everybody can be a Jedi now. Like, that's like saying Han Solo could have been a Jedi if he wanted to.
When you look at both films and you take into the account the fact that The Last Jedi is a direct continuation of the story, and the fact that the same production team stands behind both films, not to mention the insidious shadow of Disney and Lucasfilms as a whole, it is truly remarkable how fundamentally different they are.
The first movie gave me questions, and I'm a fan, so I was willing to accept it. Yeah. And then this movie said, stay tuned for more.
More questions. And then and during the process of giving us more questions, took a piss on the original trilogy. Yeah. Took a piss on what we know about Star Wars. And took a piss on the characters that we grew to love. Even though people love Luke and Yoda, took a piss on them as well. Yeah.
I could scream and yell and say, you've got an obligation to answer questions that you brought up in this first film.
And it's as though Rian Johnson's gone in and looked at that and gone, okay, throwing that all out and just doing the things that I want to do. And it's as though he looked at the Star Wars universe as a whole and gone, throwing that out, I'm going to do things the way that I want to do it.
Where do we get to a point where everything that Luke did in Return of the Jedi, and you're seeing the galaxy celebrate, and Palpatine's statue being toppled, what happened? What the fuck happened?
Disrespected the Force. It disrespected what Jedis are. Luke Skywalker got disrespected in this motherfucker, bruh. Everything is it's almost like they trolled us.
There's just so much they could have done. Like, if you go on YouTube and search up any theories on Rey, you know, there's, like, these crazy conspiracy theories are way better than the movie. Like, it was just really bad writing. It seems like they had 2 years, you know, to work on it, and it seemed like they just did it in a couple months. It was like, you did all of that in 2 years? Like, fans wrote better stories than you did.
This is fucking Star Wars we talking about. I know you can do better. I know. I just know. I know it. I know you can do better, bro. Like, oh.
Snoke.
Snoke. I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest letdowns in cinematic history.
Snoke is the supreme leader of the Sith. He's basically Emperor Palpatine, but he has really, like, deadly bodyguards. He's really awesome. He's really superior. He just puts off that good, strong vibe.
They hyped this character up for so long, saying he's this and that. He's so strong. He's one of the strongest beings.
There's, like, why is he so feared? Why is he so powerful?
How did you become Supreme Leader? Who the hell are you? Where did you come from? Why did you create the First Order?
Like, why was he not in the first 6 movies or mentioned at all?
You know, I thought there would be a whole background on Snoke, that Snoke was Darth Plagueis the Wise.
I was really hoping that he turned out to be Darth Plagueis. I thought that would have been a great way to tie in the prequels.
This is Darth Plagueis. This is the guy who knew how to conquer death.
Everyone's wearing, like, your Snoke theory sucks t-shirts, or there's been all these videos, theories. Who's Snoke? Is he Darth Plagueis? Is he, you know, Jar Jar Binks? Right? Yeah.
They let us have all those years of YouTube fan theories speculated like a mother.
Snoke is Darth Plagueis or some shit.
And all the while they were like,
all this hype and people talking about it for hours and hours and hours about Snoke. Who is he? What's he doing? All that stuff. And then they just do that with it.
Snoke. Rey. Kylo Ren.
So, there was the scene, as most of you know if you've watched the movie, where Rey and Kylo Ren enter Snoke's lair. And Snoke's sitting in his big throne with all these bodyguards around him that have staffs that shoot out lightsabers, so he's not really one to joke with. And their armor is lightsaber proof. So he's sitting there, right? He says to Kylo Ren, like, after some talking, he's like, kill Rey.
Rey is being pulled down to her knees in front of Kylo in order to be executed.
He's like, he puts Rey down on the floor, he puts the lightsaber next to Rey's head.
And then, he's bragging to Kylo how he knows all his thoughts. You can't keep anything from me. I know your intimate thoughts. I trust you and this and that.
Snoke is like, I can read your mind. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking before you're even thinking it.
And then, this whole time he's bragging, the lightsaber is sitting by Snoke. He snatched it out of Rey's hands and sitting beside him.
On the throne, on like the armrest, if you want to call it that, right on the side of Snoke.
So Kylo Ren pretends he's about to kill Rey. He starts moving the lightsaber slowly.
And the lightsaber is slowly turning and turning.
And then boom, it goes off right through him on the side, and
it ignites inside Snoke, goes through him.
And yes, it's true. It's being ignited, through his stomach, through his belly.
And he's just like...
They then just waste him and kill him off? With no explanation of who he is?
You can't do that.
So...
Oh my god.
They murdered Snoke in this movie. The only one thing that I really wanted to know about, the mystery. Is he Mace? Is he this? Is he Kylo? Is he Darth Sidious? Darth Plagueis? The why? Who is he? The nigga's nothing, bruh. He got murdered by Kylo Ren. You mean to tell me this all-supreme knowing being didn't know that he was forcing his saber right next to him?
That's part of my problem, too.
He's supposed to be like the wisest man. And there was a bit in it where he just, literally, Kylo Ren was getting an order of him. He just flicked his wrist. Bit of force lightning, just slapped him around the face a bit. So if he's that powerful, how could he not sense someone about to kill him?
He cut him in half. He was being tricked while he was telling us
that he got.
I see his I can read his mind. I can see his entire mind. Everything that he does.
Ridiculous! So you never find out who the guy is. You never find out where he got the scars or the gold lame welcome to outer space Vegas jacket. It's ridiculous and stupid, and frankly insults my intelligence.
And if he is so powerful that, he can command the First Order and he can have so much influence to turn Kylo, how did he not see Kylo turning the lightsaber and just friggin', where's my button? Killing him. Anybody want to tell me how that makes sense?
In this movie, a lot of stuff doesn't make sense.
Logic thrown out the window. This just continues in Last Jedi.
Kylo Ren, I sense that you're now complete.
Yeah.
I sense it. Really, Snoke? Do you sense this saber about to go through your abdomen?
Yeah, he couldn't sense a lightsaber right beside him on a table, like on the armrest of the chair, turning, making a loud ass clanking, like while turning, so they can cut Snoke in half. Yes, you heard that right. Kylo Ren killed Snoke. Snoke dies in this movie.
I don't even think he had half an hour screen time. It's ridiculous. It's what was the point of Snoke?
You honestly, why does he exist at all?
He was the master of Kylo Ren, and apparently Kylo was able to trick Snoke to kill him. And you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he's meant to be more powerful than Palpatine. Palpatine wouldn't go out like that.
You let somebody try that shit on Palpatine. Palpatine in Return of the Jedi. You let somebody twist a cyber or a lightsaber around, or a laser sword, as Luke called it. You let somebody twist a lightsaber around on his watch. Yeah, that shit ain't gonna play with Palpatine, man. He gonna kill you.
Why wouldn't you turn this character into a huge fight? You could have had an awesome fight. A 3-way fight. You could have had him fight Luke. That would have made an awesome movie. Instead, you had to kill him in the wimpiest way, horriblest way possible. Good job, Rian Johnson.
Everyone's like, well, he did something different with the movie. You don't like it because it's different than the rest of the Star Wars. Like, no, do something different, but make it good. Just because he made a bold decision doesn't mean that it was a good decision, you know?
It takes Star Wars into a bold new direction. It took Star Wars down, in my opinion. What bold new direction?
Disney, wake up and smell the coffee.
I think, again, the problem here is that it's failed potential. We feel so disappointed because there was potential. That's what we feel as fans who were let down by this film.
I'm giving you my speech. My speech is over.
And they showed Snoke like this, bruh. Oh my god, they just make him.
They just seem so stupid how he died as well. It was pretty awful.
Just the guy on the chair.
You don't even know what the fuck he wanted. And he's
What
dead.
is your purpose for being evil?
You don't even know what his plans were.
Where are you from?
He just kept saying,
why you were dark?
Bring her to me. Why, Snoke? Why do you want her so bad? Are you gonna tell me what you're gonna do? What's your big master plan? Are you gonna take over the universe?
Yeah,
what?
Nothing.
He's dead, and there's still nothing.
Snoke is gone. Lightsaber moves to Rey, and Rey and Kylo Ren stand next to each other or back to back, and
Rey and Kylo have this little buddy moment where they're fighting together and killing off the rest of the Imperial elite soldiers.
So we have our one like epic lightsaber battle for the film, which is great. And everyone in my theater was like, "Oh my god, this is so good!" Except what was wrong with that battle? Oh yeah, nobody uses the Force.
I'm really fucking pissed. This is, it's just.
God, guys, I swear.
They were almost semi getting their ass kicked a little bit towards the end of that battle. You know, when Praetorian guards, who were pretty badass, pretty highly trained as well. I like their weapons. You know, had them wrapped around the neck. One of them had with his whatever the hell it was. So they put up with a little bit of a challenge to them.
Again, the two most Force powerful people fucking ever are sitting there getting like strangle-held.
You know, and I'm like, all right, you gonna use the Force now? Or you guys just gonna not do anything? I mean, I don't understand what's going on.
Right? Every other fucking lightsaber battle we have, you have people force pushing shit. You have like people force pulling the ceiling down on your head. Right? You have all this crazy stuff. This is no like sword, 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 sword.
Move on. Move on. Quick lightsaber, flash here, and that's it.
Oops, no, I'm gonna lightsaber my way out of this because I suddenly forgot how to use the Force because apparently multitasking is one of the things that you lose when you just have all this raw Force sensitivity. Great.
I found myself in the middle of the movie kind of going like, oh, this is from Empire Strikes Back, or oh, that's from Return of the Jedi.
If you've seen Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, you pretty much know everything that's already going to happen in this movie. Yeah, once again, nothing new. Nothing new.
This movie recycles a lot. It recycles a lot.
That whole scene with Snoke taken out of Return of the Jedi. Just when Luke went to confront the Emperor, we have Rey going to confront Snoke.
Rey arrives willingly, admittedly with a little bit more style than Luke did, but she arrives willingly aboard Snoke's ship to allow Kylo Ren to capture her, to bring her before Supreme Leader Snoke, in handcuffs, by the way.
And gets put in handcuffs, and he's taking her to the Galactic Overlord. They're in the elevator, she's got the handcuffs on, and she's like, no, I sense the good in you. I feel the conflict in you.
Because she senses good in Kylo. Luke, why are you going? Because I sense good in my father.
Come back to the light. And he's like, once you meet the General Snoke, Emperor Palpatine, you will understand all the power of the dark side. Wow. They stole the lines, I swear to you. And then everything from on there was just a fucking copy.
Snoke removes the bindings, takes her lightsaber, puts it on the same handrest that the Emperor did in Return of the Jedi, and then proceeds to monologue about how powerful he is or how awesome of a villain he is.
General Snoke being like, embrace your destiny, follow the power to the dark side.
I'm this, you're that. Take his place. Come on, do it. That's the Return of the Jedi. Where Snoke was there with... That's Return of the Jedi!
Meanwhile, he's showing her how her rebel/resistance fleet is being destroyed right out of her window.
Look out this window, or in this case, on this monitor, because we don't have a window on this particular room in this ship, and like just this exact same dynamic, the exact same lines.
And that if she would just turn to the dark side, it was literally the same exact thing as the throne room scene in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, and then once we kill Snoke, though, because we're doing 2 movies at once here, we got to revert back to Empire and have a nice little, like, ooh, let's have a moment where we reveal Rey's parents, and then Kylo Ren's all, join me, and we will rule the galaxy together. I'm like, seriously? Seriously? We had that. We've seen that. The same. Darth Vader said literally the same fucking thing to Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back. Oh my God, you need to try harder.
That's the bold new vision. Maybe that's just new words for saying I'm copying the original trilogy.
There is no villain for episode 9, but we know it's a movie. It has to be Kylo, which to me is a throwaway.
Yes.
What's the point?
Rian Johnson ruined this trilogy, bro.
And if
oh my God,
if they're gonna
can't
do
believe I'm saying that.
If they're gonna do the thing where Snoke is still alive, then the movie's still trash. They went about it the wrong way.
Who's the Supreme Sith? It's not Kylo. He's an untrained, feeble piece of shit.
Star Wars has always had good, strong villains. That's what Star Wars is all about, the light and the dark. And then all of a sudden they want to kill Snoke, and like, what was the point of him? And now they're trying to make Kylo be the main villain.
You know, he's just like, he's not a good bad guy. I just feel like he's just a reckless emo kid who has all this anger that just kills stuff. It's like, it's not menacing like Darth Vader, menacing like Darth Maul.
Darth Vader had a purpose.
Darth Vader had purpose, and he was a lot smarter. Kylo Ren is just like, I'm mad.
He's roid raging.
He's just roid rage.
What you want, Kylo Ren in charge, a spoiled little brat in charge of the Resistance. That even merits a drink. But I guess I shouldn't feel too bad because it's a bold new vision.
Spoilers. So it's going to be in all caps in the description. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the film, I suggest watching it on a free website and not giving money to these freaking people, because this film doesn't deserve it and I feel ripped off. The Force Awakens ended with Rey going to the island and obviously giving Luke his lightsaber back.
So she arrives at Acto, hiding place of Luke Skywalker, and she delivers him the lightsaber. That's how The Force Awakens ends, you know? So you gotta know that, like, what's maybe the whole world? 1.3 billion people? That's like a population of China, or maybe more people have been anticipated this movie for 2 years, you know, because Luke Skywalker has a 10-second moment in Force Awakens, and everybody is looking, oh, this guy is looking like Anakin Skywalker with his long hair and his Santa Claus beard, you know. So it's the Luke.
The Force Awakens movie. We knew Luke Skywalker was in it because he was in the fucking misleading trailer, and they put him in right at the end, and you just saw his face for like 5 seconds. So I sat through that whole fucking piece of shit, and you didn't even give me what was alluded to being in the film in the trailer. And now I've waited another 2 years to see fucking Skywalker.
34 years we've waited to see Luke Skywalker on screen. He's meant to be the most powerful Jedi ever. Fans of the originals have waited 34 years to see what he can do on screen.
Our first scene that we have not seen Luke Skywalker in 30 years. The heroic man who took down Darth Vader, who helped to bring peace to the galaxy, helped to defeat Emperor Palpatine.
We go to the Island and we see Luke Skywalker, and Rey gives him his lightsaber,
which he lost during his fight with Darth Vader.
The very lightsaber that was extremely important to him because it was his father's lightsaber was given to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi. It meant something.
So it means a lot to him because this sword was Anakin Skywalker's sword, you know, so made by his father as well. And nobody has ever known how on earth somebody has ever found this lightsaber, you know. So
now the fate of this lightsaber had an irresistible air of mystery about it in Episode 7, and we had this sweeping end scene where Rey hands it to Luke, and
what's he gonna do? He's gonna hold it and he's gonna be like, you know, you've come back for me, or like.
He may be looking at it and said, where did you get this? Oh man, this is my father's lightsaber. We might go into a little history and stuff. That would have been welcome because we like that. We like little historic things that ties in prequels and the sequel together. Yeah, fine.
I would have much preferred Luke take the lightsaber, look at it for a second, think about the memories that he's shared with this lightsaber. Think about all the places this lightsaber has been. Think about what this lightsaber has done with all those folks that have used it. Then he lights it up. And then he says, "You've come a long way. Come inside. Let's talk."
Nope, none of that. He took that shit.
Freaking throws it behind him.
He looks at it and he throws it away.
He takes it, looks at it, and, you know, just throws it over his shoulder like an insignificant piece of garbage.
Whatever he does, it's not going to be.
And just walks away.
And the way like the camera did it, it made it seem just so like a spoof.
For him to just get the lightsaber and throw it off the cliff. Like, they just made it a cheap laugh.
Luke accepts the lightsaber, and in true heroic style, he tosses it over his shoulder. And what did that bring to the audience? People started laughing.
Like, at first I laughed because it was funny, like, haha. But then you're like, wait, is this, like, actually serious? Like, all of that, all of the hype, all of me waiting for 2 years was just for him to throw the lightsaber off the cliff for a cheap laugh.
So, 2 years. Yes? Motherfucks?
Thanks a lot, you wankers. I waited through the whole first film and the build-up to the first film to see that, and then I waited 2 years for this film.
For 2 years, you're like, holy fuck, what's gonna happen? What's he gonna do? What's he gonna say? Is he gonna be like, oh my god, you're my daughter? Oh my god, my lightsaber? Like, what's gonna happen?
Flash forward 34 years, Rian Johnson gives us that.
This is screw you. This is screw you. So,
Rian Johnson just totally ruined it. Ruined it is he destroyed it. What he's done is despicable, unforgivable.
Who the fuck is making this fucking film? Seriously.
Here's the lightsaber. Lightsaber, that's your father. You know, that's your father. And, you know, it's yours. I'm bringing it back to you.
Master Luke, I got your lightsaber. And he's like, boink, throws it over his shoulder. He doesn't care.
He's done with it. I'm done with all of it. Lightsaber? Gone. Oh, what this? Jedi robes? Fuck out of here. Oh, holocrons? Nah. Jedi books, chronicling the 335,000 year history of the Jedi Order? Fuck out of here.
Luke was not Luke. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that is not Luke.
That's not Luke Skywalker.
That's not Luke. That's not Luke Skywalker.
This is not the Luke that we know, guys. And I'm so tired of hearing people saying, oh, he's older, he's changed, and this and that. No.
No. Absolutely fucking not.
Fuck me, man.
Good grief.
You can't do that.
That's how you disrespect Luke? Just the ultimate disrespect. I'm like, what the fuck am I watching right now?
Just tossing away his father's lightsaber. What? I can't.
I was just, honestly, this was the worst Star Wars movie I have ever seen.
You can tell that Mark Hamill didn't want to do this role. You could tell.
We should have heard the alarm bells when Mark Hamill was saying that he doesn't agree with anything they've written about his character.
This movie is written and directed by Rian Johnson. Stars
this shit?
He wrote this. He wrote and directed it.
Luke Skywalker himself literally told Ryan, you know, I don't like what you're doing with my character, but like whatever, I have to do it. I have to act it out. Like, dude, like imagine Luke Skywalker himself telling you that your script and your idea of his character is not good.
And in The Force Awakens, in the ending, you could really tell the emotions on Mark Hamill's face, Luke Skywalker's face, because he was actually very excited to be part of the franchise again, you know, after 30 years. So he's like all in his role, and then Rian Johnson gives him the script, you know, it's like, bam, you gotta work with this, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So
you look at the end of Return of the Jedi, when he's facing the Emperor, and he's like, you know, I am a Jedi like my father before me. There's nothing that can break his spirit. And that gives you a real feel-good factor. And that's just completely taken away in this film. You know, it's ripped out of you from the moment you see Luke on screen and he throws that lightsaber away. You're instantly like, okay, Luke's different.
And I'm not angry at Luke or Mark Hamill. I'm just angry at these motherfuckers who just write these scripts. And
Mark Hamill is like Mark Hamill is like the number one Star Wars lover out there. He loves Star Wars. He loves being Luke Skywalker. And Rian Johnson he just ruined it for him, because if you look at the interviews of Mark Hamill, you see how like upset he is with the script, and he publicly talked about not liking it. And I'm pretty sure now he has to like pretend like, oh yeah, like I didn't like the character at first, but like, you know, he's going a different, like he has to like fake it, you know? It's like, I don't know what the fuck he did. Why the fuck they did that? Why the fuck? This whole movie was why the fuck?
Rian Johnson. I mean, he claims he's a Star Wars fan, and considering Kathleen Kennedy, the Lucasfilm's producer, chose him, probably means this is true. But you come out of this experience thinking he loves to make movies, but he kind of hates Star Wars and Star Wars fans. There is a staggering level of passive-aggressive contempt for the fans of the Star Wars myth and all the supplementary material that comes with it.
One of the things that really kind of irritates me is Rian Johnson's whole attitude on the Star Wars phenomenon, this film in particular, how he acts so high, holy, thou, and mighty about his vision for Star Wars.
I saw a tweet that Rian Johnson made, and he was calling the people that disagreed and, you know, that basically was getting in his ass for how stupid and how weak and how not well made the movie is. And he said that, you know, oh, the dweebs. He called us a bunch of dweebs, and that we was shouting in the void. I couldn't believe what I was reading. No lie, I couldn't. And that shit really, because now I'm taking it personal. Like, you trying to insult our fucking intelligence, my intelligence, because I've been trying to get the word out on this movie for a minute, but every time I'm trying to have a civil conversation, here you go trying to, you know, berate me and try to make me look like I'm stupid or like I don't have, you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. I can't be a true fan. I've been here since 77. I've been here since the beginning. So you can't tell me shit, you know? Anybody in the Lucasfilm story group or what have you, let me tell you something. There are people out here walking around with more knowledge than the people running around in Lucasfilm.
If you really love something, if you really a fan of something, then you gotta get raw. Sometimes you gotta get mean. Sometimes you gotta tell the truth, okay? If you like something so much, don't just blatantly defend it when you know you can see the fucking flaws yourself, bruh. I will be the first person to say some good shit about something if it's good. There's a lot of shit that I like that end up being bad, and then I gotta talk about it. And this is one of them.
Ray, all right, let's get that shit right out the way.
Since the ending of The Force Awakens, where we see her handing the lightsaber to Luke, You know, we kind of already had the feeling that Luke's going to train her in the next film, but, you know, my first thought was, well, what the hell can he teach her?
Like, she knows how to pull, like, she was able to pull the lightsaber towards her. She was able to resist Kylo Ren's, like, mind alteration. She was able to just channel the Jedi mind trick, which is apparently really difficult to do if you pay attention to the prequel lore.
Ben Kenobi had to explain to Luke what a mind trick actually is, but in The Force Awakens, Rey knows how to use a mind trick without anybody ever explaining it to her.
Like, you don't need to tell Rey about the Force, man. She like Force Jesus. Like, this bitch can do anything with the fucking Force.
She flies ships, she speaks Wookiee, she speaks droid, she knows how to just instinctively use a lightsaber, and she's super freaking powerful.
She has no training at all, except with the staff, but then she can beat Kylo Ren, who was trained by Luke, who beat Darth Vader, one of the galaxy's... It's just...
And it's funny because at the beginning of this film, Last Jedi, they do allude to the fact that she had a battle with Kylo Ren and held her own with basically no training. They actually said that, and I was really pleased when I saw that. So at least you alluded to it. Snoke said that. He goes, oh, you were beaten by a girl, this bird, who doesn't have any training. So, okay, at least they acknowledged it. So I thought from there, they're then going to go on to explain that she's the most Force-sensitive person ever and really flesh out why she's done all this shit and the Jedi mind trick with no fucking training. Surely it can't be that you're running roughshod over the Star Wars legacy.
Someone can be super powerful in the Force. Anakin was powerful in the Force, but still he had to train. Like, we can see when he was a kid, he was like this super pilot. Then Attack of the Clones, he still loses to Count Dooku. So even if you are super powerful in the Force, you have to train those skills.
There was no training. None.
She becomes a fucking amazing Jedi master with like no training at all. It's way less than even Force Awakens.
Focus yourself. Feel the Force. I mean, there was no training to Rey.
Why don't you just fucking show Luke Skywalker, the iconic hero of Star Wars, just training her in battle? How fucking hard is that? That's timeless. From fucking ninjas to cowboys and all that shit. People like seeing a bit of battle and a bit of training.
Just have a lot of them working together like that. Training, understanding the Force, him teaching her all that stuff. That would have been awesome to see. But then they don't do it. They give you like about a few quick scenes and that's it.
Nothing actually happens with Rey and Luke there. He tells her a little bit about a history of the Force and why he's like upset and living like a hermit there. But that's it. Nothing happens. She doesn't receive any training. She doesn't grow. She doesn't change. So why does Rey go to the island to get Luke? I don't know. There's nothing that Rey needs to learn or overcome. She's basically there to yell at Luke and trying to get him come back for a reason that we don't fully understand. So we have one character who doesn't need to learn anything or doesn't need to grow, doesn't have this internal conflict, and then we have this other character who's acting against everything we've learned about them. That's just objectively bad. It's poor writing.
Like, guys, do you remember Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back? He's been training with Yoda for like a few weeks, maybe a month or two, and he's so clumsy. He's fucking clumsy fighting against Darth Vader. But now we have this girl who is nobody and who hasn't been trained, and suddenly she just hands us to Kylo Ren, and then in this movie she's just why? I don't get it.
One little litmus test you can apply to a character is that all great characters should have needs and should either overcome obstacles or learn something that helps them grow.
That was the whole thing that made Luke an endearing character in the hero story of A New Hope, is that he's just a guy from nowhere who doesn't know what he's doing, and only at the very end, because he trusts his feelings, he's able to do the impossible.
Like, Rey is just a magical person. She can fly fighter jets, she can do all these things. Rey never learns anything. Rey isn't like Luke was, reckless or impatient or like, what's her flaw? What's her tragic flaw? This is back to the time of Greek storytelling. Rey doesn't have one.
she doesn't have any of the weaknesses that Luke Skywalker had. She has no weaknesses.
Darth Vader can choke people from across space with no problem, but Luke can barely get his lightsaber out of the snow until he learns and grows and develops. His progression takes time. With Rey, you get none of this.
Give me something to explain why this character is so powerful, even though she's so young and completely untrained. Give me something.
She can use the Force perfectly without barely any training whatsoever. Like, she practically just trained herself. And even Anakin from the prequels, who is supposed to be the one who had the most power in the Force of anyone who had ever been born, even he couldn't do that. But yet, because she is a woman, she can.
Oh, she's a woman, and women have to be portrayed as invincible. Let's infantilize women and give them a leg up when they don't need it. They don't need it anyways. They're strong enough to stand on their own.
She really was not a person in any way. She was a goddess. She was a feminist icon. And she wasn't realistic in any way, because women, real women, go through struggles. They have to train, they have to learn, they have to grow. Rey didn't have to do any of those things. She just automatically could do everything. She was automatically able to be completely in charge and on top of everything, which just is not realistic.
A lot of people were saying that she was a Mary Sue, and I don't agree. I actually loved her character. The Force Awakens has a very weak plot, but I loved the characters. But now it's like, I don't really care about her anymore because she can do anything.
I want characters I can relate to. That's what Star Wars is about, right? I can't relate to Rey. I don't know what it's like to be downtrodden, but then all of a sudden have everybody give me everything. Not know what I want, not know what my place is, not have any personal identity of self-worth or value, but then just get a whole bunch of things. That's not me. I'm the opposite. I'm more like Luke, where I feel like people, I overestimate myself sometimes, and I think, yeah, I'm really great, I wish someone would give me a chance, and then sometimes someone does give me a chance, and Darth Vader smacks me down because I'm really not as great as I thought I was. That's relatable, that's human, that is real, that is honest, that's what people respond to.
I understand the whole feminist movement and the whole bit, but that don't have no place in Star Wars. You can still have strong women characters and not a drop of just trying to ham-fist something in a movie of this caliber was not even necessary.
Even if you want to make it more for women, that doesn't mean you have to make it less for men. Because when you do that, when you sit there and you try to give one person something and take away from the other, what you do is you just tore the script in half and you made a garbage movie.
Basically, all the male characters in this film are either evil or stupid comic relief.
Fucking treat all the men like shit in the movie. They're either dumbasses, they can't control their emotions, or they do shit that they have to be put in place by a female character. Man, get the fuck out of here.
As far as Finn looked like he was a janitor. He was a cowardly janitor that just wanted to run away and chase after the girl I guess he was digging, which was Rey. Poe, he's a flyboy, hot-headed flyboy that doesn't listen. So Latino men are hot-headed. And as far as the white man goes, obviously the First Order, evil, not even on point, But the women in this movie, powerful, smart, strong.
So basically, in the movie, every time a male tries to do something heroic or good, he is seen as either being impulsive, being overly violent, or he is seen as being hateful, or he is being seen as incompetent. But whenever a woman does it, it's praised and heroic. The exact same things are considered heroic when it's a woman and shameful when it's a man. And I was so angry. Because heroism is the same, whether or not it's a woman or it's a man. Actions determine heroism, not gender. And they were making it be a gender thing. That if it's a woman, then she's a hero, but if it's a man, then of course, there's an issue with him doing it. And I'm like, seriously, people. If feminists truly, as they claim, want gender equality, then you need to have men have the equal right to be heroes as women.
Star Wars, the original characters had good role models. They had good messages. They had good characters. That's what you need. Because that's the thing, right? The thing about role models, like I said, right? I want to be Leia. I want to be a Princess Leia type. I don't want to be a Rey. All right? But more importantly, who do you have, again, so there are women watching this movie, or there are people watching this movie, you know, looking for role models in the female characters. There are also people watching this movie looking for role models in the male characters, and you've given them nobody. Part of making the change, part of creating good feminism and teaching men how to be better people and respect women better is giving them positive male role models. You gave them an arrogant prick and a purposeless janitor. I mean, you gave them nobody. You gave them nobody to model themselves after and want to be. I mean, that's another thing too. When you have these role models for the men, right? It's not just learning about the behaviors that they want to ascribe to themselves and the people that they want to be, right? It's also learning about the women that interact with those characters and how those people are treated by them. You're setting up, okay, you want all your maverick guys to go around just expecting women are going to shit on them all the time. That's really creating a positive, peaceful environment where we can all get along. I mean, you're creating Finn, right? People who idolize Finn, who want to be Finn. Okay, so they're supposed to want a girl who follows them around and idolizes them? How is that feminism? Now, the guys who want to be Han Solo, those guys are learning that they're supposed to want a woman who is incredibly powerful, who can kick their ass, and who's not afraid to take charge and speak their mind. That is what I want. And I just want more Han Solo, let's be honest, because he was my hero. He was my role model. And y'all did him a serious disservice in this new franchise. And I'm still pissed off about that. I'm still pissed off about everything that you guys are doing to Star Wars, because it is not good Star Wars, most importantly. And it is not even good feminism. So take your personal issues and agendas, talk about it on late night TV, fucking write a book about it, fucking go on a speaking tour, all right? Stop ruining something that is precious to so many people because you think this is now your little project and your little vessel for getting your voice heard.